Welcome back, students. This is lecture 4 of Laws and Ethics. We are doing the directors part, and this is for CMA Intermediate June 2023 attempt, and your exam is from July 15th. Okay, right. So we are in section C, okay, which is corporate laws of 35 marks. Okay, chalo. So let's continue. So I think this could be your last lecture. If little bit remains, then we'll go for a 5th lecture. Okay. I feel mostly we will be able to complete it today. Okay. Fine. So this is where we have to continue from. Okay. And this part which we'll do today is Register of Directors and KMP. Okay. KMP is what? Key Managerial Personnel. Okay. Register of Directors and KMPs. Okay. So now the companies have to maintain a separate register for directors and KMPs. Okay. Maintain a register of directors and KMP where at its registered office. Okay. What will be written in the register? Of course, details of directors and KMPs, correct? So register will contain these things. Okay. DIN, okay, which is optional for KMP, because in KMP, not everyone is a director, as you know. CS is also a KMP, but not a director, correct? So which is why DIN is optional for KMP. Okay. The next thing which should be maintained is name and surname of director. Okay. If there is any former name or surname, okay, that also you have to mention. Then father's name, mother's name, spouse's name, if he is married, of course, okay, and surnames. So here what we have seen, what are the things which should be maintained in the register? Okay, first is DIN. So DIN is the first identification number of a director. So DIN you have to maintain, the name and surname, obviously, former name of surname if you have changed your name. Okay. And for females, if they get married, there is a chance that surname gets changed. Okay. Then father's name, mother's name, spouse's name if married, and all their surnames. Okay. Then your date of birth. Okay. Present and permanent residential address. When you would have filled your online form for CMA, okay, there also you would be given two areas. One would be your current address, one would be your permanent address, correct? This is like that, present and permanent residential address. Okay. Nationality, Indian, ours will be Indian, correct? Occupation, so if he has any other occupation apart from being a director, that you have to write. Okay. Date of board resolution in which appointment was made. Okay. What is the date of the board resolution in which he was appointed? He or she was appointed. Okay. Date of appointment and reappointment in the company. Okay. If it's an appointment, date of appointment, previously was appointed, then that date of appointment. If it is a reappointment, that date. Okay. So entire history should be there. Date of cessation of office and reasons therefore. Cessation means the office was terminated. Termination of office is called cessation. Okay. So date of cessation and why it was terminated. Okay. That you have to write in case it was terminated before. Okay. Then office of director or KMP held or relinquished in any other company. Okay. Office of director KMP held or relinquished means the post has been given off. Okay. That's called relinquished. So that data also you have to mention. Membership number of ICSI in case of CS. Okay. And PAN mandatory for KMP if not having DIN. As I told you, some KMP might not have DIN. In that case, they must show their PAN. Okay. Give their PAN. Okay. Then In addition, the company shall include the details of securities held by them in the company. Okay. Apart from these details, what we have seen just now, company shall include details of securities held by these people who are going to be appointed as director or KMP. Securities held by them in the company. Okay. Not just the company, but also its has holding associate and subsidiary companies. Okay. So securities held by them in the company or its has, okay, or subsidiaries of companies holding company, right? So all related companies, right? So those details also must be included, right? Securities held in all these related companies, okay? And relating to, so what are the things about the securities you will write? So you will write number, description, and nominal value of securities, okay, date of acquisition, and price or other consideration paid. Okay, first is all securities will have a serial number. Okay, write the number, description, and nominal value of securities, then date when you purchased them, right, and the price paid for that. If you have paid any other consideration apart from price, then write that. Next is date of disposal and price and other consideration received. So if you had, say, a total of 1,000 shares, then you sold off 200 shares. In that case, you have to write date of disposal, price, and other consideration you have received. Okay. Cumulative balance and number of securities held after each transaction. So every time you are selling some part of the securities, what was the balance left? All that also you have to show. Okay. And then mode of acquisition of securities, right? How you have acquired it, whether through stock market or through direct transaction. How did you acquire it? Mode of acquisition, okay? Mode of holding, that is you're holding in physical or in dematerialized, okay? And then whether securities have been pledged or any encumbrance has been created. So this is pledged or encumbrance. It is like in Hindi we say girvi rakhna. Okay, that is you say sometimes you have some ornaments and all, you go and pledge it with a jeweler and you take some money from, and when you get money, that time you pay back the money and take back your ornaments, correct? That's called pledging. Okay, so you have read about the law of pledge in contract act already, right? Where securities have been pledged or any encumbrance has been created. Encumbrance means any charge has been created, then that you have to write. Okay, fine. Now, next point is you have to file a return. Okay. A return containing particulars of appointment of directors KMP and changes, okay, shall be filed with the registrar in form DIR 12 plus fee within 30 days of appointment. Okay. So whenever you are appointing a director or KMP, what you have to do, okay, this is basically the company will file. Okay, the last line, if you see, by the company. Okay, see here. Okay, this will be filed by the company with whom? With the registrar. What is the name of the form? TIR 12. Okay, and within how many days you have to file? Within 30 days of appointment. Okay, fine. Right. And changes means like you have already appointed, say you have got a total of 10 directors and KMPs. And after some time, you are adding 2 more. So that is change. Change is nothing but an appointment. Okay. Or if say change, sometimes it is possible that you have got 10 KMP and directors and you have fired 1 or 2. That also is a change. Okay. So that also must be filed. Okay. If there is a change, you have to file. Change can mean what? Addition or reduction in number. Fine. Chalo. So this is a return you have to file. Okay. DIR 11. Next is inspection of register. Okay. We were talking about registers of directors and KMP. Okay. So register of directors and KMP shall be kept open for inspection during business hours. Okay, you have to keep it open for inspection during business hours, and members can take an extract or copies free of cost. So you cannot charge anything to the members. Okay, so they can take any extract from that register free of cost. Okay, and then company to provide within 30 days of request made by members. That is, if they are asking for any extracts, company has to provide within 30 days. Fine. Right. And the same, that is your register, okay, shall be kept open at every AGM, annual general meeting, and made accessible to any person attending the meeting. Okay. So this is your register, inspection of register. Okay. So during business hours, everyone has a right to inspect those registers. Okay. We're talking about your register of directors and KMP specifically, right? Okay. Now, if inspection is refused or copy is not sent, okay, registrar on application made to him, he shall order immediate inspection and supply of copies. Okay, that is, if inspection is refused or copy is not sent, registrar can order the company to allow immediate inspection or supply of copies, whatever has been asked. Fine. So last is here the punishment. Okay, if company contravenes provisions of chapter 11. Okay, chapter 11 is nothing but your appointment of directors. Okay, of directors, all parties. Chapter 11, I'll just show it to you. Okay, you need not remember all these sections and all. Okay, as I told you beforehand. Okay, this is your chapter 11 that you can see here. Okay, appointment and qualification of directors. Right, this is where we started studying from, section 149. Okay, from here we started, and then this chapter ends at 172. Okay, fine. So then, I mean, you need not really remember these sections and all, that is fine. Okay, you only have a small part. Chalo, then punishment. If a company contravenes provisions of chapter 11, okay, for which no specific punishment is provided elsewhere in the act, okay, then company and every officer in default, they'll have to pay fine between 50,000 to 5 lakhs. Okay, this is the fine. A contravention of chapter 11, and for that, if there is no specific penalty provided, then this will be the general penalty. Okay. The next part which we will go through is appointment of MD, whole-time directors. In short, you can call whole-time directors as WTD. WTD means whole-time director. But in exam, write the entire thing. Okay. So what you can do is, sometimes in you are writing an answer. Okay. And you have to write MD many times or whole-time director many times. So first time, just write the whole thing and just in bracket write hereinafter called as MD. Like that you can write. Or hereinafter called as WTD. So then after that, if you have to repeat that word 10 more times, okay, you can save your time. But don't directly use these jargons. Okay. Appointment of MD, WTD. Okay. Company shall not appoint MD and a manager at the same time. You cannot have manager or a managing director. Managing director is a manager, is a director who will also perform the role of a manager. If you are already having another manager, you don't need an MD. Okay. So company cannot appoint MD and manager at the same time. Appoint or reappoint an MD. WTD is what? Whole time director. Okay. MD, WTD or manager for a tenure of 5 years only at a time. So initially you can appoint them only for 5 years, not more than that, when you are first appointing them. Okay. You can appoint only for 5 years. Fine. Minimum age limit for appointment of MD WTD is 21 years. Maximum is 70 years. Okay. Minimum is 21 years. Maximum is 70 years. Right. So he cannot continue after he has reached 70 years. The moment he celebrates his 70th birthday, he has to resign as MD or WTD. Okay. But if he has to continue, or you have to appoint a person who has already attained 70 years of age, you can do so, but with a special resolution, right? And the explanatory statement annexed to the notice, you have to show justification as to why you need to appoint that particular person. What special qualities he has that you want to appoint this person who is already 70 years. Okay. So these are the years. So these things can be asked in your objective type questions. You have to remember for that. Okay. Now next part is disqualifications for appointment of MD and WTD, Managing Director and Whole-Time Director. What are the disqualifications? There are 3 disqualifications. Okay. If he is an undischarged insolvent, okay, or has at any time been adjudged as an insolvent. So if he has been an insolvent earlier on, sometime, say some years back, he was an insolvent, still he cannot be appointed as an MD WTD now. Okay. So either he is an undischarged insolvent currently, or at any time he was an insolvent, then he cannot be MD or WTD. Okay. Then if at any time he has suspended payment to creditors, so he did not pay creditors in time, or has at any time made a composition with them. Composition is an agreement with your creditors where you make an agreement with them that you will pay little less than whatever is due. Okay. And they are agreeing to it, so that, I mean, at least let us get whatever we are getting. That's what people think, right? So say you have to pay to the creditors 1 crore. Okay. And you have made a composition with them that right now I have 80 lakhs. I'll pay you 80 lakhs. Okay. And you will not have any credit on me after this. Okay. Whole 1 lakh credit will get dissolved. That is called a composition. Right. So if he has made a composition with the creditors or has suspended payment to them, then he cannot become an MD WTD. Okay. And then has at any time been convicted by a court of an offense and sentenced for more than 6 months. Okay. Fine. So these are the 3 disqualifications for MD and WTD. Okay. This is specific disqualification for MD WTD. Fine. Okay. MD WTD shall be appointed subject to the terms and conditions of such appointment and remuneration, okay, to be approved by the board of directors at a meeting which shall be subject to the approval by a resolution in next GM. What does it mean? It means that MD or WTD will be appointed in a board meeting. First thing is they'll be appointed in the board meeting, and while appointing, the terms relating to appointment, the terms and conditions and remuneration, that will be decided, okay, at the board meeting. But after he is appointed in a board meeting, whenever there is the next general meeting, okay, that time the general meeting must uphold the board resolution. Okay, that means general meeting must say okay to the appointment. That is the short way of saying that. Okay. So this is approval by a resolution, means it is ordinary resolution. Okay. Special resolution is not required. Just an ordinary resolution is required. Okay. Now the approval of central government. Okay. So in this case, in pink, whatever I have written here, you can see that approval of central government is not there in pink. Correct. So approval of central government is not required. So if what is to be done? First, a board resolution is required for appointment, and then whenever you have the next GM, you need an ordinary resolution upholding the board resolution that is required. Sometimes, okay, approval of central government is required in case such appointment is varied to the conditions specified in part 1 of schedule 5. Okay, what is being said here is, okay, central government approval will be required if the appointment is varied to the conditions, means, okay, it is against the conditions specified in part 1 of schedule 5 of Companies Act. What is part 1 of schedule 5? That we will see here. Okay, so when do you need approval of central government? If appointment is against the conditions specified in part 1 of schedule 5. So let's see what is part 1 of schedule 5. Additional conditions to be fulfilled for appointment of MD WTD without the approval of central government. So these conditions, if it is fulfilled, okay, these are additional conditions than what we have seen before. If these are fulfilled, then approval of CG is not required. If these, there are 4 conditions actually. So if this is not fulfilled, only then you need approval of CG. Okay. So if you have approval of CG and these 4 conditions you are not fulfilling, still you can be appointed as MD or WTD with the central government approval. Okay. Right. So what are the additional conditions? Let us see that. He has not been sentenced to imprisonment for any period. So there is, what we are saying is no imprisonment. Should be a clean person. Not even imprisonment for 1 day is okay. Not been sentenced to imprisonment for any period or fine exceeding 1,000. Okay. For the conviction of any offense under any of the following acts. So this conviction, okay, should not be there in relation to the below acts. Now you did not remember all these acts. Okay, you can remember some which you can remember. Okay, there are some which you all know, and you need not remember the years of the act also. Okay, what are the acts? Indian Stamps Act, Central Excise Act, you can remember. Okay, then this is IDRA, Industries Development and Regulation Act, Prevention of Food Adulteration. Okay, Essential Commodities Act, you know, Companies Act or any previous companies law, this you can remember. This is SCRA, Securities Contract Regulation Act. Now next is your Wealth Tax, Income Tax, Customs Act. Okay, so Wealth, Income Tax, Customs Act and Central Excise Act above. Okay, all this is there, and Companies Act. These things you can remember. Competition Act also you would have heard of, I'm sure. This is FEMA, you would have definitely heard of FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. This is SICA, Sikh Industrial Companies Special Provisions Act. SEBI Act, we've talked about SEBI many times. Okay, in final you will study a bit more about SEBI. This is SEBI Act. This is Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act, and this is PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Okay, so all these definitely you need not remember. Whatever you can, 7 or 8 acts, I think you can easily remember, which you know. Okay, that is sufficient. Just put, when you're writing anything about acts, like write whatever name you know, 7, 8 names, and some more acts. Just like write like that. Okay, this is your first point. What we have studied now is your first point. Now second point is, he has not been detained for any period under Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act. Okay, so here so detention is just an you sometimes detain someone for questioning. Okay, so detention is not conviction. You have not been convicted, but you are detained for, held back for questioning. Okay, that doesn't mean they are saying that you are guilty. Okay, but even if you are detained under Conservation of Foreign Exchange Act, okay, still it is not okay. You cannot become an MD or WTD. Okay, the next is where he is a managerial person in more than one company. Okay, he draws remuneration from one or more companies subject to the ceiling provided in part 2 of this schedule. Okay, so there are some ceilings which are provided which is not in your course. You don't need to look at that table which provides that ceiling. Okay, so if he's a managerial person in more than one company, he cannot draw remuneration subject to the ceiling provided in part 2 of the schedule. Okay, that ceiling gives you some 4 or 5 lines, like it should not be this much. Your managerial remuneration should not be this much. Okay, some conditions are all there in that ceiling. Okay, I can show you that table, but I'm not showing you because it is not required for you. Then you will get confused seeing that. Okay, yes, this much you should remember, subject to ceiling provided in part 2. That's all. Okay, that ceiling you need not remember. Okay, that's not expected of you. Then he is a resident of India. These are the 4 conditions, A, B, C, D. Okay, if he fulfills these conditions, central government, these are additional conditions. If he fulfills this, CG approval not needed. Doesn't fulfill even one of ABCD, CG approval is required. Okay. Where appointment of MD or WTD is not approved by the company at a GM. Okay. So sometimes it is possible, like we have said, that board resolution is required, then it will be approved in general meeting. What if in general meeting they don't approve it? Then what will happen? Then any decisions or act taken by him, any act done by him or decisions taken by him before approval in general meeting, that will not be invalid. Okay, that will continue to be valid. There will be some time lag between his appointment by board resolution and the general meeting. Correct. So in between the two, he will take some decisions that will not be invalid, even if he is not approved in general meeting. Okay. Last thing is, a return in form number MR11 shall be filed indicating the appointment of MD/WTD within 60 days of appointment plus fee. Right? So this is about your MD and WTD. Okay. Next part is remuneration of directors.